Honorable Member for Githunguri.
Hello. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to give my contribution on the finance bill proposal, which has been tabled in this House. Madam Speaker, for a long time, finance bill has not been a subject of discussion in this country. But for the last 1.5 years, Kenyans have awakened to the issues that are there in finance bill and have made it a public discussion. Madam Speaker, I had attempted to speak earlier on in the floor because I am a user of sanitary towels. And as a user, as a mother, as a woman leader, I am greatly concerned that the price of sanitary towels and diapers is not only going to affect the mothers and the users of those items, but is going to affect the budget of individual homes. I have interrogated the proposal of the finance bill very deeply, Madam Speaker, and I've realized that there are promises flying around. The excise duty that was proposed on sanitary towels and diapers has been removed. Or rather, there is a recommendation from the Committee of Finance to remove excise duty on imported sanitary towels and diapers. However, Madam Speaker, the raw materials that are being used by local manufacturers are subjected to VAT. And if those raw materials are going to continue being subjected to VAT, the manufacturers will have no choice but to pass the cost of that VAT to the users. And therefore, Madam Speaker, if we do not remove VAT on raw materials that are making sanitary towels in Kenya for local manufacturers, we are still going to have expensive sanitary towels and diapers. Madam Speaker, currently there are children who do not go to school when they are on menses because they cannot afford sanitary towels. If we add extra price on cost of sanitary towels, we are going to deter lives of many girls who can become powerful women in this country. Madam Speaker, in the spirit of making laws, we cannot make laws to obscure other laws. I have gone through the finance bill proposal and have noted that there are various proposals that have been put in the finance proposal that are going to deter us from implementing the laws we have made previously in this House. Madam Speaker, in the respect of that, I note that we have agreed a proposal to amend the Data Protection Act. Data Protection Act of 2019 is a law that we made in the previous parliament to protect our personal data. I know members of this House, I included, have received numerous messages from members of public. Where they got our numbers from, I don't know. Whereas we cannot blame them because maybe they are operating from a situation of pressure. It is against the law to share members' numbers. As they do that, Madam Speaker, we are protected by the law. What about if we allow us to amend that law and allow anybody to access our personal data, including financial data? And therefore, Madam Speaker, I am of the opinion that we must be very careful so that you don't make laws that are going to make other laws not operational. Madam Speaker, I represent farmers. And I would have been very excited to hear that just like we have given VAT exemption to the transportation of sugarcane, which I am happy about, we also provide the same provision for the farmers who transport milk, who transport avocados, who transport macadamia, tea leaves, and coffee. Madam Speaker, I understand that we want to make sure that we lower the cost of operation for sugar millers so that they can lower the cost of final product to us, which is sugar that we consume in our tea. But we also consume milk, and we also want to lower the cost of production of milk so that we can have affordable a cup of tea. And therefore, I would request this House to consider to also provide and extend the same treatment to my farmers in Githunguri. With those very many remarks that I have made and I have observed, I am still not convinced that I should support.
The Honorable Member for Homabay. The Honorable Member for Homabay.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also debate and make contributions on this finance bill. Madam Speaker, I rise to, from the beginning, I say that I reject this finance bill. Madam Speaker, the reason as to why I'm saying I'm rejecting the finance bill, not just rejecting partially, but in totality. Because, Madam Speaker, this is a finance bill that from the onset, there is always increased taxation, item by item, detail by detail, up to the end. I want to say, Madam Speaker, because I recognize that we were advised by the Honorable Speaker Wetangula that we can present our contributions based on linkages, based on our opinions, based on the budget, and based on the finance bill that is current on the table. Madam Speaker, I want to say that as Kenyans, first and foremost, we were disappointed with the presentation that was given by the PS Treasury. Madam Speaker, I want to say that Kenyans keenly listened to how revenue was going to be generated to fix what is proposed in the budget. Madam Speaker, I want to say that Kenyans were left shocked because what was proposed, one of the things was we raised revenue because we want to sort out our pending bills. Madam Speaker, it is on the floor of this House that we were told that we have to wait for consolidation of the pending bills in this country by October. For that reason, Madam Speaker, I reject even the reason as to why we are increasing the taxes so that we can foot our pending bills. Madam Speaker, I want to say that this House, the leaders must rise up and support. And I want to ride on the presentation by MP Honorable Sylvia, who said that personally she does not understand what a finance bill is. I want to say that even yesterday we know that our colleagues were invited at State House. I thought they were going to make meaningful contributions, Madam Speaker, and give contribution as to why they think they are under siege in the respective constituencies where they come from. Madam Speaker, I want to register in this House that we share as colleagues, but the kind of issues that we are saying that we are relying, there's me of this other side of the opposition, is relying on social media. Why did they choose to act, Madam Speaker, on the social media by telling us along the corridors that all the things you were arguing about, we have dropped? Madam Speaker, that was bread issue. Madam Speaker, the taxation of the motorcycle, which means they are also conflicting and contradicting what they are saying, Madam Speaker. Why did they also choose to act on the issues of social media? Why did they choose to respond to the Fourth Estate? Madam Speaker, I want to say that public participation needs to be redefined in this House. Yesterday, when we watched over the television, Madam Speaker, I saw a desperate minority whip. That is, I saw a desperate Honorable Whip Osoro, when he was very desperate of trying to convince Kenyans and deeply thinking on how taxation on bread has been dropped, on how taxation of motorcycles have been dropped. I saw a desperate and so much a person who is under pressure. Madam Speaker, I want to say that we must stand firm on the floor of this House and rise beyond numbers. Issues of numbers does not arise when we are talking about finance bill. Madam Speaker, I want to say that finance bill 2023 can equally be applicable on this budget that we want to appropriate. Madam Speaker, I want to say that there must be progression on how we generate our taxes. Madam Speaker, private sectors, I wish you gave me one more minute, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I have valid points. Kindly, I'm requesting for 1 minute, Madam Speaker. Thank you so much. Being a woman speaker, you know very well the problems we have. I've transversed in these industries. Private sectors are key. If they migrate from this country, we must take care of their interests. When we talk about zero rating, we go to standard rating. We are talking of exempt. The final sufferers are consumers. President Yoweri Museveni said that Kenyans must learn to produce and manufacture their raw materials. Where is this in finance bill?
Thank you. The honorable member for Alego Usonga. Honorable somebody.